This is episode 14 of the Cherish Each Moment podcast. So excited to have you here. As always, lots to talk about, and I'm ready to get started. So let's do it. As always, there's a lot going on over here. It's been a really busy last week and a half, almost 2 weeks since I recorded the last episode. And yeah, lots happened. 4th of July is come and gone. And yeah, if you haven't seen, I went and did probably one of the most fun and one of my most favorite projects that I've ever done in my yard with the grass, and that was to stripe the American flag in my backyard. I did a full-size American flag over 8,000 square feet, all 50 stars, and 2 practice stars for Puerto Rico and Guam, and all 13 stripes. I thought it turned out great. I was really happy with it. I thought the video turned out awesome. Had a lot of fun making that with the kids, and putting that all together. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out, go over to the main YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jimmy Lewis Mose. Go check that out. That was a really fun video, and we've watched it several times here at home because the kids like to watch that. So that's always fun. Front yard's doing great too. We are back into high 90s, 100 degrees. I think it was 102 yesterday. The temperature reading in the car yesterday afternoon around 4 or 5 o'clock, we're at 108. So I don't know what to believe. All I know is that it's freaking hot. But the grass is doing fantastic. It's doing so good. All things considered, with watering restrictions and all that fun stuff that you know well about if you've been listening to this podcast, nothing has since changed as far as my local guidelines. I'm still watering twice a week, and anytime I see any heat-stressed areas in between watering days, I'll bring the hose out and just kind of spot water those for a few minutes. I'm allowed to do that. So I do that. And I've been applying Hydrotain once a month, as well as the biostimulants. So all of that together is just doing wonders. I am mowing quite a bit right now. I'm mowing the front lawn 3 times a week, which is a little bit more than I want to be doing. But man, it is lush, and it's green, and it looks so, so good. Best it's ever looked. Even my wife said that to me, and that was the ultimate compliment. She said it's best it's ever looked. So I'm due for an application of plant growth regulator in the front yard. Hoping to do that this weekend, which is tomorrow, and get that done. That will save me at least 1 mowing a week. So I'll get back to twice a week, which is where I want to be anyways. I don't mind mowing 3 times a week, but my wife does. So I need to be aware of that and do what I can to get those mowing times down. So yeah, PGR is going down in the front yard as soon as possible. I just applied Hydrotain again 2 nights ago, and I mixed in some goodies with it. I mixed in humic, which was from Enviroplex, from the same company that makes Hydrotain, Ecologel. So humic, Hydrotain, RGS, Aerate, Dethatch, and a splash of baby shampoo. Quite the mix there. I got everything mixed in there. I did it all in 2.5 gallons of water. Probably should have just gone to 3 and evened it out there. My timing probably would have been a little bit better too. I was a little bit slow on my walking speed. I used the My Four Sons backpack sprayer. I've been using that as of late, testing it out, getting a review put together here. Need to review that. I've got another backpack sprayer coming soon from Yard Mastery. Yard Mastery, if you haven't heard, is going to be releasing a backpack sprayer, 4-gallon backpack sprayer to the market. I've got a test unit coming here any day now, so I want to be able to get all my thoughts together for the My Four Sons and get that video out and going as soon as possible. I'm just about there. I just want to get a couple more applications under my belt and put my thoughts together, and then I'll be able to film that. So hopefully in the next couple weeks or so. I've got a lot of things I want to do here pretty soon, but we'll see what happens. I do like the sprayer. I will say that everything so far has been very, very positive. It's comfortable. It works well. And yeah, looking forward to the review there. Another highlight of the week, I found some grub worms in my backyard. There's a small area that is kind of off the side of the patio on the backyard near the gate. That takes you to the driveway around the south end of my house. And at first I thought it was heat stress because it's 100 freaking degrees outside. And that's usually your first guess for anything wrong with the lawn at this time in the summer. And looking back, I did skip on a preventative application for grubs. The only insecticide that I put down this year has been bifenthrin, and I don't believe bifenthrin targets grubs. So I did try spot watering the area. It didn't really change anything. Usually, even sometimes, within 20, 30 minutes after a good soak, you'll see a response from the lawn. I tried for a couple days. I did some digging initially and didn't find anything, so I wasn't really sure what to do. I actually dug around about 3 times, and I was out in the backyard the other night and just thought, what the heck, let me dig again. And I usually try to make an effort to dig. The first sign of grubs, obviously, you want to check is if you pull up the grass in the damaged area, it will come up really easily by the roots, and the roots are usually just trashed. And you can tell that grass is dead because of how easily it comes out of the ground. There's nothing there. And that was a positive test there for me. Digging around in the affected area, I didn't see any grubs, which is pretty typical. So I moved over towards the borderline between the good grass and the dead grass. That's typically where you're going to find them. I dug around for a few minutes and couldn't find anything. And then the other night I went back out again, and we were outside playing with the kids. And I was looking over at that area, and I thought, it has to be grubs. There's got to be something in there. So I got down in there again and started digging really heavy, dug a couple inches down into the soil, finally found one, and smashed it. So I had a small bag of grub control from the Andersons in the garage, and spread that out over the affected area and a couple other areas that I felt like could be affected as well. And that got watered in the next morning. So hopefully we've got that under control. But yeah, if you're if you skip out on a preventative there for grubs, odds are you're probably going to be dealing with grubs later on. And that was a good reminder for me to get the preventative application down as I plan for next year. So going to make sure to take care of that and hopefully not have to deal with those anymore, because they're nasty. They will tear your grass up. One of my friends in Las Vegas found some grubs in his lawn. I've been trying to help him diagnose from afar, just over text messages and things, pictures, and same thing. I thought it was a watering problem, and we kept talking about it and felt like it could be grubs, but he wasn't finding any, and he finally found some too, but a little late for him to find them, which stinks. he's going to have a nice reseeding project here this fall, which is unfortunate, but yeah. So if you've been skipping out on a preventative for grubs, I would caution you, and get that preventative down and save yourself some trouble and even probably some money if it gets too bad. I just released a video today, the day that I'm recording this here. It was a video on some new products from HoseLink. HoseLink's been a really cool partner for me. I like their products a lot, and when I find cool products from companies, especially smaller companies, I want to share them on my channel. And HoseLink was nice enough to send me their new charcoal hose reel and their new stand-up weed puller. The hose reel I'm super excited about. The weed puller is good, but I don't really know if it's totally necessary, and it is overpriced, and I've talked to them about that. But yeah, it's kind of nifty little tool. If you don't want to be on your hands and knees to pull up weeds, then something like that is a good option. But I put a lot of work into that video, and I thought it turned out pretty nice. I like HoseLink hose reels. I've done several videos on those, and for those of you that are familiar with my content know that. And I'm trying to work with them behind the scenes to offer a little bit more variation on their hose reels, more specifically a larger diameter hose. Currently, it's around a 1/2 inch diameter hose that they offer on all their models, which I think is pretty standard in Australia where their company is. But here in the States, we like to have more water pressure because I think we use garden hoses for a lot more purposes than other countries. And I think at least a 5/8 inch diameter is a good starting point. So hopefully in the near future we can have a 5/8 inch diameter hose from HoseLink with their super convenient retractable hose reel. So fingers crossed. I'm going to keep pushing them on that, and we'll see what happens. But that's what's going on in my lawn. I have a new book that I'm reading, and I want to take a quick break before I tell you about that and share a couple of things that I've read just in the first page of the book that just really hit me. Definitely worth sharing. Very excited. I'll be right back, and I'll talk to you about that. So like I said, I have a new book that I'm reading and studying. For a few years now, probably 2 or 3 years now, I have been following David Meller on Instagram. He is the head groundskeeper at Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts, home of the Boston Red Sox. And in my opinion, he's a legend. He posts some great content on his Instagram, and I have since picked up his book, The Lawn Bible. I've got it right here in front of me, and I started reading it this past week. I've only had time to get into a few pages, the first chapter or so. But like I said, there has been just some awesome thoughts that just stood out to me in the very, very first page of the book here. And I wanted to share them with you. If you want some really good reading material to go through, I highly recommend this book, and I'm only a chapter into it. It's just so thorough, and there's just a couple hundred pages of information here, almost 300 pages. I'd say the meat of everything is about 260 pages. So this will keep me busy for a while, and I would love to just continue sharing some nuggets and some gems from this on the podcast here, and read a couple things out of here, just some highlights, and share my thoughts on them. And I think it'll be a great addition to this podcast and the conversation we have here. But again, this is the Lawn Bible. It's by David Meller, head groundskeeper at Fenway Park. And on the very first page, he says, here's what I believe. And this is in the introduction. And he says, great lawns are where memories are made. And I love that. I think that is the core of everything. That's what lawns are for. Of course, we want them to look good and all of that good stuff, but it's the lawns where we're outside with our families and spending time with the kids, and that's where we're making the memories. So he says the great lawns are where memories are made. The feeling of a lush carpet of green under bare feet, the smell of freshly cut grass, a pile-up of grass-stained kids in a rowdy neighborhood game of football, that first $5 you earned cutting someone else's lawn. It's up to you to create a lawn where the memories want to happen. And I love that. I think that's poetic, and I'm all for it. One other thing that I enjoyed from the same page, and I think that a lot of people need to understand this, especially people in the comment section on not just my YouTube channel, but others too. And it's the fourth point he makes here in what he believes. He says, there is no ideal lawn. Think about that. There is no ideal lawn. He says, there's your ideal, and there's my ideal. And those ideals could be worlds apart. And then he says this, that is why the lawn is a perfect expression of American individuality. What else can you say? That right there is perfect. There's no better way to describe that. And for anyone who goes and comments on videos and says, you're not supposed to do it that way, I do it this way and it's way better, good for you. Keep doing it that way. That's your ideal. And just because it's your ideal doesn't mean that it's my ideal too. Sure, it could be easier for you. It could be more cost effective. It could take you less time. But your lawn and your circumstances and your conditions, etc., 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 are not mine. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. All it is a different expression of our individuality. And that's okay. I love that. I think that's great. As you can tell, I'm pumped about this book. I'm excited to continue to read it and study it and just kind of get into Mr. Meller's head here. And yeah, this is just great. If you want to check it out, I will leave a link in the show notes, and you can grab that off of Amazon and support him. So super cool. Yeah, that's what I'm up to in any ounce of free time that I can find where I can stay awake. I'm in this book. So look forward to sharing a lot more of that with you, and hopefully having a nice conversation about that. And yes, very excited about that. Another thing that I found, and this will be really the last thing that I talk about. It's going to be a pretty short episode today. just because there's a lot still going on behind the scenes here, and I don't have a guest today, unfortunately, but that's okay. But I do want to just kind of bring up a tweet that I found, and this has been shared a couple times, but this is from, I don't know if this person shared it originally or if it was copied from somewhere else. I've seen it in several places, so I don't know where this content originated from, but it has been circulating the internet, and this particular person is a facilities manager at a sports park. I think Barenbrug also posted this as well, but it's a picture of a couple of images over a thermometer that's taking a digital reading of the temperature of different surfaces: asphalt, synthetic turf, grass, and brown turf is also labeled here. It's captioned 91 degrees and sunny today, heat index currently at 100. Here's a reference on what it's like to play on synthetic turf versus grass in the summer. The heat coming through your shoes just walking across the turf is incredible. So I will post this on the YouTube video if you want to check that out. But it's the thermometer readings on the asphalt, and keep in mind it's 91 degrees outside, heat index is at 100. The asphalt's reading 132.6 degrees. The grass is reading 99 degrees, 99.5 degrees. And then the synthetic turf is reading 164.6 degrees. Crazy. I found that so interesting, and I just want to add that as another benefit of grass. Obviously, grass has a lot of benefits, and it's good for the environment, and it's good for us as people, but this is one that I haven't really considered until I saw this picture, and it's how much cooler it keeps our surfaces. And if you've ever walked on asphalt on a 90-degree, 100-degree day, or on concrete, or AstroTurf, synthetic turf, it's hot. It'll burn your feet. But grass has just that cooling effect. It just feels so good to lay on it, especially when it's hot outside. And it's still hot. It's 99 degrees. It's 100 degrees. But it's not burning you. So something to share there. I thought that was really interesting. It's pretty amazing how different surfaces react to temperature, and how much better grass does battling that. So, +1 for grass, the real stuff. They're trying to get rid of it here. Trying to get rid of it in a lot of desert climates, and I've talked about that before, and I don't know if I want to open up that can of worms again, but it really, in some places it makes sense. I think right now they're starting to talk about getting rid of grass in common areas, like in front of businesses, or in the middle of streets on medians and stuff where it's not used. And I can understand that. I fear the day where either we're running out of water and they can't supply enough to support a secondary irrigation system, or if they start charging us through the nose that it's just not worth paying for, or if they tell us to just get rid of our lawns altogether. I fear for the day, and I hope it never comes. I just don't know what I would do. So I'll go ahead and just avoid a rant there and just kind of move on to what's coming up next. What am I doing? Hopefully I will have everything planned out and ready to go for my trip to Kentucky this fall. The GIE Expo is fast approaching. Still a couple months out, but before you know it, we're going to be out of summer into fall, and it's going to be GIE time. I'm really looking forward to that trip. GIE, as with many events last year, was postponed, and it will be back this year, October 20th, to 22nd. It's at the is it the Louisville Convention Center, the Expo Center there in Louisville, October 20th to 22nd. I'm really excited for that. Should be tons of fun to connect with people and friends and fellow creators and people from companies and play around on some lawnmowers and all kinds of stuff. Should be a lot of fun. So I need to keep my eye on the flights and find a place to stay and see what else is going on. So I got to do that. As I said at the beginning of the show, I'm going to be getting my second app of the year of PGR, the plant growth regulator, down in the front yard. Save myself a mow every week. And then I am going to continue my testing of the My Four Sons backpack sprayer and start putting a review together too. Got a couple other video ideas too. I don't know if you've seen John Perry did a video recently. One of his project lawns, I think it was the lawn that is going to be hosting a wedding here pretty soon, and he took it over and really, really kicked it into gear in just a matter of 3 or 4 weeks, I think is what he said. I want to do that same experiment, the same regimen on my project lawn, on Jimmy's lawn, on his front yard. I haven't done an update on his front yard yet. I need to do an update on his backyard. He sent me a bunch of videos of his backyard to do an update on, just because I haven't had time to get out there. Our schedules have been really hectic, and that update on both front and backyard is overdue. So I need to get caught up there. But his front yard has been struggling, to say the least. And I've been over there a couple times and tried a couple things. Haven't had much success. But this little application that John ran on his project lawn caught my attention just because circumstances are pretty similar, and I want to give it a try. So I want to get back out there and get that application down. That way I can see how it does in 3 or 4 weeks' time and see if I can have similar results. If this doesn't work, he's got plenty of leftover grass seed from the backyard, and I think we're just going to overseed that front yard. And personally, I think that would be a good option anyways, just because it's probably better quality grass. So that's definitely on my radar, something that I want to do. Another video I'm looking to do is how to mow around obstacles, and that's primarily towards striping and maintaining stripes and how to do that. Just a simple video on that I think would be fun to do. Something I think about every time I mow in the front yard, because I have 2 trees and a flower bed to mow around, and I always try my best to keep the stripe pattern just on point. So looking forward to that. Lots to come, as you can tell. There's a lot going on here. I'm staying busy, and that's pretty much going to go ahead and wrap up the episode. If there's anything else that you want me to cover, maybe some Yard Mastery stuff now that I'm working at Yard Mastery. If you want to hear a little bit about that, let me know, and I'll consider adding that to the program as well. So yeah, that's going to do it. Short episode today. Thank you so much for listening and for hearing me ramble about all the things going on in my yard. I have a lot of fun doing this and look forward to making the next one and catching you up on all things happening here. So episode 14 is in the books. When you're out in the yard, don't forget, cherish the moment. See you next time.